Welcome to the Ryan Pineda Show, where our mission is to invest,
I only expect to make money in things that I understand.
innovate,
It's about believing in the future and thinking that the future will be better than the past.
and inspire.
I am much more likely to hit my goal just due to putting it out there.
You're now rocking with the best.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Ryan Pineda Show. Today, I am solo. I do not have a guest. I don't have a co-host. It's actually been quite a while since I did one of these, but I really like them because I can talk kind of off the cuff and go over certain subjects that, maybe aren't good for YouTube. YouTube won't promote it, or I know it'll flop, but it'll be a subject that I'm really passionate about that is going to provide a lot of value to the right person. And that's what I think today's topic is. I'm actually going to talk about how I hire people. Before we dive into it, let's get a quick word from our sponsors. Are you looking to grow your real estate investing business? My company, Future Flipper, can help. We've taught hundreds of people all over the country how to flip, wholesale, and buy rental properties. And it doesn't matter where you're at in your investing journey. Whether you're trying to get your first deal or scale your company, Future Flipper can help. We have courses, coaching, and events for all levels of investors. So if you want to take the next step, go to futureflipper.com and book a free consultation to see how we can best help you. Once again, that's futureflipper.com. One of the hardest parts about real estate investing is finding a good contractor. That's where Southwestern Custom Construction comes in. They've been doing remodels in Nevada and Arizona since 2006. As a fully licensed and bonded general contractor, they're able to help with any type of renovation, all the way from an entry-level fixer-upper to a custom luxury home. Southwestern Custom Construction specializes in working with investors. I've personally used them on many of my projects, so I know their team is legit. If you want to get a bid on a project, head over to customhomenow.com. Once again, that's customhomenow.com. How often have you driven around and seen houses that were in rough shape? If you're a real estate investor, you know those are the best deals. With Batch Driven, you're now able to capitalize on those homes. You can mark the home, get owner information, and send them a mailer or a text right from the app. And there are other great features like lead management, MLS data, and real-time driving routes. If you want to start today, you can get half off your first month by going to batchdriven.com/Ryan. Once again, that's batchdriven.com/Ryan for half off your first month. Now, back to the show. Now, on YouTube, if I were to talk about this, it would probably flop. I've actually tried to do it once. And the reason is there's not that many people who are trying to hire other people. They're usually trying to get out of their job and become self-employed, or, most people are just hustlers and they're just doing their thing solo. So very few people actually get to the level of, hiring. So if you are at that level where you think you're ready to make a potential hire, you're going to love this video. And also, even if you're not at that level, but you're thinking about it down the road or whatever the case may be, or even if you're trying to get a job, these are good things to know because your employer is probably thinking about something similar if they're a good employer. So with all that being said, I'll just start off by saying that in my coaching program, hiring is the biggest thing I think we talk about. Because, once you get past the fundamentals of real estate investing, the next step is scaling. And the only way to scale is with people. You can't scale your marketing or buying more houses without hiring more people. And so this is the reason that most people never scale, is because they never figure out how to hire. And if you become really good at hiring, it makes your business just really, really powerful and profitable as well. Really, the only reason I've had the success I've had is because I've gotten really good at hiring people. And that's across all of my businesses. It's what allows me to have the time freedom to not work the weekends. It's what allows me to, focus all my time on creating content and filming podcasts, and yet my business still run without me and are profitable. It's because we hire really good. So if you like this podcast, what I'll say is, if you're in the real estate space, definitely apply to join my coaching program because it is a constant subject. You can go to futureflipper.com and apply for that. So let's jump right into it. A lot of people always ask me, like, Ryan, what was your very first hire? And I'll tell them, for me, it was a project manager because I just didn't want to do projects anymore. Like, I hated going to the houses and meeting the contractors and bringing supplies and, just bringing the checks. Like, that annoyed me so much. And I just realized it was what prevented me from getting more deals. At the end of the day, my skill set was in finding deals. And I know that if you find deals, you make money. Sales is like what drives every business. If you don't have a good sales force, it doesn't matter how good your operations is if you have no business. So it doesn't matter if we're the best at fixing up houses and getting them sold if I can't ever find a deal. So I just, kind of reverse engineered it and said, I need to start with step one, which is finding deals. If I can find deals, the rest will take care of itself. And so the first thing I hired was a project manager because I wanted to focus on finding more deals. And the moment I hired that project manager, my business started to scale like I'd never seen before. By myself, I was doing, my first year I did 5 flips, second year I did 20, third year is when I, hired my first guy. And, we went from doing 2 a month to 4 a month, ended the year over 50. And it's like, if you could double your business by hiring just one person and you stop doing the stuff you don't like doing, it's a big win to make more money and to do less of what you don't like doing. Huge win. So, that was my first hire. Now, that doesn't mean that that's your first hire, especially if you're in a totally different business than house flipping. But let's just use the house flipping example since that's what we're talking about here. You are different than me. And this is kind of the point we make to our students is you have a different skill set and different tendencies than I did. And so maybe you love project management. You come from the construction background and that's what you're really good at is finding good subs and getting things done quick and under, for a good price. So you might be really good in a project management type role, a detail-oriented role. And you might not be very good at sales. And so if you try to do what I did, maybe your company fails because you're just not good at sales and you're not getting deals. But if you had somebody who could get deals and was good at sales, you guys would be a great team because this other guy's doing something you're not good at. He's getting deals, getting sales, and then you're on the back end managing product or projects. So the thing I always tell people is very few people are just tremendous at every aspect of real estate or just any job. And I would just say you're one person away from really crushing it. I firmly believe that. You're one person away from really crushing it. And you just have to find that person. And you got to realize where your weakness is and, where they can give you, where they can complement your weakness. So, it's going to be different for everyone what your first hire is. But, beyond that, there are a bunch of things that we do in the hiring process. So the first thing that I do when I'm going to, look at a candidate, assuming I got the candidates, most of our candidates come from social media. I'll just make a post and we get a ton of applicants. But what we do once we have the applicants is we first look at their personality. So we will give a personality test. Personally, we use the Predictive Index. It's a very costly test. I think it's like $6,000 a year for us to have that software, but it's perfect for what we do. I use it across all of my companies, and the Predictive Index is a great tool. So you don't have to get that. You could use DISC. That's the one that Tony Robbins created, and it will serve a similar function. And the reason why, and by the way, I'm not sure if it's still free, but it used to be free. If not, it's not going to cost you a ton of money. The reason that we do personality test is because we want the right personality for whatever role we're hiring for. So for example, if I was going to go hire a sales guy, I want somebody who's pretty social, somebody who's extroverted. I mean, it's not to say that introverts can't succeed in sales. I know plenty that do, but they've got to work extra hard to do it. They're not going to be naturals like the natural, extroverted social sales guys. And so we want to look for somebody like that. We want somebody who's a little aggressive, in sales. We don't want somebody who's passive. When somebody tells them no, they just back down and say, oh, okay, well, it is what it is. Like, you don't want that in sales. So personality is huge. And if we can just already know, like, hey, these guys fit the personality for this particular job, then we're good to go. Now, when you look at personality for, say, an accountant, right, you do not want an accountant who is, like not detail oriented. Like sales guys, the best ones, they're not detail oriented. They just, go after it. They figure out how to get it done. I'm very much that way. I suck at the details. But an accountant, you want really detail oriented. Many accountants are introverted. They're very much data driven. They're in the numbers. They want to follow the rules. And that's what you want for that role. I wouldn't want like this crazy dude doing my taxes that is reckless and not paying attention to the numbers. So my point is, personality is different for every single job role. So you got to figure out what kind of personality it is you're looking for that job. The second thing that we look at is experience, right? And with experience, it's just a matter of, have you done this job before? Okay. If I'm hiring you to be my accountant, how long have you been an accountant for? Do you even have a license? Are you qualified? There's a lot of things that go into it. And side note, since we are talking about accounting, I also own an accounting company called TrueBooks. You can go to truebookscpa.com to check us out. But, you got to look at experience with anything you do. Anytime that I hire a salesperson, it doesn't mean that they need sales experience in real estate. Like, obviously that helps, but I would like to see them have sales experience in something. Like if they're a used car salesman or something, like that's cool. Like you've sold. I can teach you to sell real estate and what we're doing. So experience plays a role. The third one, though, is probably the most important. It's the one that just, you either got it or you don't. And that is desire. So does the person really want this job? Or are they just taking it because they have to and they're just looking for something now because they're unemployed? Or how bad do they want to do this job? And you can't teach that. And what I'll say is, I've had plenty of great employees who, they did not have the personality for a job and they didn't have the experience, but their desire was so strong that they ended up succeeding despite that. And I do believe that if you have enough grit and desire to do something, you'll find a way to make it happen. The people who want something, they find a way regardless of their shortcomings, I should say, or lack of experience. They just figure it out. So desire is like one thing you got to really look at. If you get somebody who's got a great personality, they got a great experience, but you can just tell they're lazy or they just don't really care, dude, I don't want that person. I'd take the hungry person all day over the person who's got the other stuff. So, those are the biggest things that we kind of put our applicants through, the lens that we look through. I would also say that we also have our core values. So on our wall, if you guys have ever seen any of my office videos on YouTube, we have a big thing that says core values, and it has all 4 of them. I'm looking at them right now. It says serve others. That's core value number 1. Train daily, play fair, no ego. And in order to work at one of my companies, you must have all 4. There's no debate. It's non-negotiable. If any of those are lacking, you cannot work for me. You got to be willing to serve others. Not all about you. You got to be willing to train daily. And what that means is it doesn't have to be physically. I'd love to see everyone work out and be healthy, but I want you to train daily, meaning get better at your craft every day. Every day I step foot in this office, whether it's to film a video, to close a deal, to start a business, I want to be better than I was the day before. I want these to continue to get better. I want to become a better speaker. One thing I've been working on with this podcast is getting rid of my filler words. Every time I look back, I listen to it and I'm like, there it is. I hate it. So that's part of Train Daily. I just want to get better every day. Next one's play fair. This one has to do with integrity and something in sports that I learned. You got to play fair. You play within the rules. It would make me so mad when I knew these guys were cheating. They're taking steroids. They're doing all these things and getting an edge. And eventually a lot of them got caught. But for me, any business, it's not worth it. I want to play by the rules. I want to play fair. And so I need to make sure all my employees feel that way too. Even if there's a lot of money on the line, you still do what's right. Lastly, no ego. I always joke, and every time I explain core values, this one's for me, and it is true. You know, like as the more success I have, the more I need to check myself and make sure that, you know, my ego is not getting too big. And I've been guilty of that, and I need to always make sure that I don't have an ego. It's not all about me, and that's really comes down to it. And I don't need anybody else at my company that thinks it's all about them either. And no matter how successful they are, like no ego. So yeah, that's pretty much how we evaluate candidates. And, you know, every role, you know, this could be a whole nother podcast. If you guys want me to talk about this on another podcast, definitely comment below. But, you know, the next step from that would be once you've identified the right person, you got to figure out how you're going to pay them. You know, what is going to incentivize them to really have a lot of success, you know, and be paid fairly. And there's a lot of ways to do that through salary, through commission, through bonuses and all that. So I don't know if this video is going to do good or not because it's a very niche topic, but if you guys want me to talk about how I pay people, I'm happy to do it if we get enough response from this video. So all that being said, if you did get a lot of value out of this podcast, it's funny because I keep saying video because we film everything, but really most of you are probably listening audio. But if you did get a lot of value listening to this, definitely make sure you're subscribed on both Apple Podcast and the YouTube channel where you can watch it on the video. And if you are watching it on the video, make sure you hit that like button and you comment. We really appreciate it. And I just appreciate everyone who's been a subscriber and who's followed me along this journey. It means a lot. And I really hope that you got a lot of value out of this podcast today. All right, take care. Thanks for watching The Ryan Pineda Show. If you want to work with me, head over to ryanpineda.com. You can find my courses, coaching programs, and upcoming events. We also have free resources you can download, so head over to ryanpineda.com.